A long time ago, ancient Ireland was said to be inhabited by two legendary races, the Tuatha Dé Danann and the Fomorians. According to legend, the Tuatha Dé Danann were a race of godlike beings who arrived from the otherworld, a mystical realm inhabited by spirits and magical creatures. The Fomorians were their enemies, described as monstrous beings who ruled over the sea and darkness. The battles between the two tribes were epic and fierce, and were said to have lasted for many years. The Tuatha Dé Danann were led by powerful deities, such as Lu, the god of skills, Nuada, the god of war, and the Dagda, the father of the gods. The Fomorians were led by the demon king, Balor, who could end the world with his evil eye. Eventually, the Tuatha Dé Danann defeated the Fomorians in a great battle, conquering Balor to become rulers of the land, and that was the end of their story, until now. For now, lives a man who channels these ancient myths to transform into a powerful warrior capable of the extraordinary. He toured the seas, beating the very best fighters the world had to offer, until one day he finally became an idolized champion. But it wasn't without sacrifice. The mighty warrior was wounded at the height of his greatest triumph, and forced to surrender everything he'd fought so hard for. Now, this fabled hero returns to battle, looking to become truly unbreakable. His name is Finn Balor. Balor reappears after 8 months away, taking out every man in sight in a prelude of what's to come. Finn's back to re-strengthen the bond with his mythic alter ego, the Demon King. He's assembled a hit list of targets, all of whom resemble the gods that opposed the mighty Balor in ancient times. If Finn can overcome these fierce warriors, his demon will be bulletproof, primed and ready to carve a fabled legacy of his own. The first deity is Craidne, the god of making. One of the Tree J Dana, Craidne was a lord who forged weapons to battle Balor. He was responsible for the arms that killed the Fomorians, a wise and cerebral creator not too dissimilar from Finn's boss, Triple H. The game has spent years creating the future of wrestling, supplying men with the means to become skilled warriors. He even mentored the man that famously wounded Balor last summer. The two go to war as the game looks to slay the demon he claims he created. Balor brings the fury, but he's unpracticed and vulnerable after his absence. The mythical warrior is forced to suffer before fighting valiantly to overcome the cerebral assassin. Balor's next target is Seth Rollins, the man who exposed the demon's susceptibility 8 months ago. To Finn, Rollins represents Luctane, the god of crafting. Like Craidne, Luctane was also part of the Tree J Dana, known for his powerful mind and expertise in battle. He created shields that the Tuatha Dé Danann used to guard themselves in war. Seth Rollins was once known as the architect of the shield. Balor claims that last summer, when he struck down the demon, he became the architect of his own demise. Seth questions Balor's fortitude and wonders if he has the resilience to stay on top of the mountain. He puts the demon through the ringer at Extreme Rules, as the two rivals leave it all on the canvas in an epic sequel. In this battle, not only does Balor beat Seth again, but this time he lives to tell the tale. Whilst Finn was sidelined and watching from afar, there was one man who captivated the fans with his charisma and eloquence. That man was Chris Jericho, who's been a legend of the squared circle for decades. Finn admires Jericho and links him to the legendary god of language, Ogma, a lord known for his ingenuity and expression. But make no mistake, he too will feel the wrath of the Demon King. Jericho once forecasted the end of the world as we know it, and the time has finally come. Balor's strength is growing with every victory, and even the legendary Y2J is no match for the Demon King. In ancient times lived a deity named Belia, known for his compassion and respect. He was recognized as the god of light, an embodiment of good amidst evil. In the land of sports entertainment, there's only one man worthy of such description: John Cena, the personification of good in WWE. Cena has become the measuring stick for the new generation as they look to test their credentials against the decorated icon. Very few succeed, most fail. At SummerSlam, it's the franchise versus the future, legend versus myth. On the anniversary of the Demon's darkest hour, Balor conquers the legend as his odyssey continues. He's claimed the biggest scalp of his journey so far by defeating the 16-time champion John Cena. As he becomes more fixed in the mythology, he becomes more powerful in battle. The next combatants to have caught the eye of Balor are the former tag team champions, Cesaro and Sheamus, both of whom resembled two deities that once ruled as co-kings of the Tua De Danann. They were Manon Narn, the Sea God, and Bove Derrig, the Red Lord. One was a well-traveled and well-skilled master. The other was a virile, red-haired warrior. Finn first overcomes Cesaro, then he defeats his fellow countryman Sheamus. Balor has embarrassed the pair, and they don't take it lightly. As the Demon is assaulted in the ring, he's saved by an unlikely ally, Bray Wyatt. The Eater of Worlds offers Finn salvation, if Balor eventually joins his side. The tandem of Balor and Bray finally take down the Bar for good, but when pressed to join his cult, Balor rejects Bray's ultimatum. This demon doesn't need exorcising. Balor links Bray to the deity known as Dian Kekt, the god of healing, a legend of the Tua De Danann that healed wounded warriors with mystical powers, soaking their injuries in Slain's well. Only all was not as it seemed. Dian Kekt was a deceitful lord who murdered his own son out of envy. The eye of Balor sees through Bray's intentions. The demon is not to be a pawn in Bray's game. Balor clashes with Wyatt in the depths of hell, as Bray tries to exorcise the demon. Bray's efforts are in vain as Balor stays the course and slays the so-called savior. The land of sports entertainment gears up for brand warfare at Survivor Series, and the Authority want Finn on Team Raw for the all-important 5-on-5 main event. But Balor has other ideas. Finn sees this as the perfect opportunity to cross off another name from his hit list. This time, he eyes up the best wrestler in the world, AJ Styles. A match between the two has been years in the making, and finally their paths are set to cross. For Balor, AJ represents the most gifted deity of all, Lu, the god of skills who slayed the Demon King and ended the Great War. Legend suggests Styles should be the one to finally topple Balor's alter ego, but Finn vows to not suffer the same ancient fate. A classic ensues between the two figureheads of their brands. Balor succeeds where the old king of the demons did not, as WWE's new phenomenon defeats his phenomenal foe. After Survivor Series, there are consequences for Finn. Triple H is seething after Raw's defeat in the main event, so he orders his destroyer Samoa Joe to brutalize Balor and put an end to his nonsense fantasy for good. Hunter knows Finn's kryptonite, having seen Joe defeat the demon a few years ago. Balor likens Joe to the god of war, Nuada, whose power and might was unmatched on the battlefield. That was until the Battle of Moitura, where he was beheaded and slayed by Balor's kind. Centuries later, and Balor's aiming for the head again. This isn't a fairy tale like Triple H says, it's a horror story. Balor and Joe's animosity cannot be contained and spirals out of control. The battle has no conclusive victor. Triple H and his destroyer look to decimate Finn in the aftermath of the contest, only for the lights to go out. When they come back on, Balor is nowhere to be found. Instead, an ominous warning shocks the wrestling world. As the weeks pass, speculation about The Undertaker begins to grow. Could the dead rise once more? On the 25th anniversary of Raw, the Phenom makes his long-awaited return, 9 months since his final farewell. For years, the dead man ruled over the yard. Champions, legends, and Hall of Famers all answered to the Reaper. Now that his days are numbered, there's a need for a new face of fear to keep everyone in line. He's been watching Finn Balor embark on a journey to become wrestling's new phenomenon, and now he's back to pass him the torch. Triple H and Samoa Joe tried to prevent a necessity by ending Balor's career. At the Royal Rumble, the demon and the dead man cometh, and there will be hell to pay. The penultimate task for the Prince of Darkness is to look within. For Mac Grain, the son of the sun, doesn't resemble another current wrestler. Instead, he embodies the old Finn Balor. Mac Grain ruled as one of the final kings of the Tuatha Danann alongside his brothers, Mac Kecht and Mac Quill. The old Finn Balor had two good brothers of his own in Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Together, they were degenerates with no honor, who took shortcuts to get ahead. Nobody fears men like that. For Balor to fulfill his immense potential, he must sever ties to his former club. Ten deities have been conquered. Now only one remains. The Dagda, the father of the gods, the most important of all. His wisdom and strength were unrivaled. He was the forefather of the Tuatha Danann, the lord who ruled them all. Finn Balor has heard these ancient tales his entire life. There was a time when they were just fairy tales to Balor, fiction he didn't truly believe. That was until he saw, with his own eyes, the triumphs of a modern legend they called the Dead Man, a behemoth with godlike skills in battle that vanquished all those who stood before him. The Undertaker inspired Finn to become something greater than himself, an unrelenting demon who strikes fear into the eyes of all that oppose him. Now, Balor must beat the forefather of fear at WrestleMania and supplant him as wrestling's new phenom. But that is a moniker someone else wants for himself. Bray Wyatt claims to be the new face of fear and vows to retire The Undertaker on the grandest stage himself. To him, Balor isn't worthy. He's a coward hiding behind war paint. Without his myths and legends, he is nothing but a man. Bray, on the other hand, claims to be a god who will expose the frailties of man for the world to see. In order to fulfill his destiny and make it to the showcase of the immortals, Finn Balor must prove that man is as worthy as myth. Every battle won and every warrior slayed has prepared Balor for this ultimate final test. The Prince goes to war with the Phenom, and he will either ascend the throne of darkness or rest in peace. Do you have a booking idea that you want to bring to life? Head over to our Patreon and join today for exclusive content and other excellent perks.